Welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Today is a special week because it is New Year's week, and also General Hospital has been preempted for 2 days, and so we are here today to actually talk about December 30th. We will tackle the other 2 days of this week next week when we do our synopsis. But so we'll go over December 30th, and then we have something a little special we want to talk about. All right, so December 30th, believe it or not, it was actually a filled day with a lot of information that went on. So first of all, Elizabeth, let's talk about her for a minute. She is called in by Portia and Terry to question her further about the patients who are dying from digitalis. Um, Elizabeth was taken aback when she walked in the room to meet with them because the hospital lawyer was also there too. And so she was a little hesitant to answer questions. And then Rick kind of showed up and I want to say saved the day for her. But anyway, Rick showed up and advised her not to answer any more questions. And then as Liz is getting ready to go, she does find out that another patient has passed away, possibly from digitalis. They are doing some more research. And this is a patient that is not anyone that I was familiar with. Brandon, did I leave anything out of that particular storyline?
I think for the most part that's it. And of course, Lucky is waiting to aid Elizabeth.
Yes, Lucky's always ready to aid. Alrighty. And then Lucas and Christina had a bonding session at Charlie's. As we know, Christina was given Charlie's by her dad, and so she is busy trying to reinvent Charlie's into what she wants it to be. And Lucky came by to visit with her, and so they had a nice conversation. But Christina also gives him a picture of Wiley that she found while she was cleaning the bar. And so I'm not quite sure where that's leading to, but anyway, they had a nice bonding conversation. And then Alexis and Sunny actually meet together. And Alexis has some information to give to Sunny. She lets him know that Ava now does not have any Cassidy money that was taken away from her. She tells him this so that this would help with the custody battle that I guess at some point in time will happen. But anyway, but she also had another ulterior motive. She wants Sunny not to give Christina Charlie's. Sonny disagrees with that, and he says that he does not want to go back on his word and take this away from Christina. And so Alexis did ask if he could kind of keep the feds away from Charlie's, and Sonny just basically acknowledged it at that point. But that's in a nutcase what went on with Alexis and Sonny. And then meanwhile, off in Prague, we have Lulu, who has managed to leave her town and her son and everyone else to go find Charlotte. She does find Charlotte. They have a nice conversation. They have nice mother-daughter bonding time. At the end of the session, Valentine does walk in. And so she is surprised, but Charlotte admits that she already told her dad that she was going to visit Lulu. And so they talk a little bit, and Lulu does ask for Charlotte. Valentine declines. And so then in the midst of all of that, Dante walks in and has a little chat with Charlotte and says that he's willing to take her back if she's interested. And Charlotte, I don't think she really knew what to say at that point. But Valentine is taken aback. He thinks that people are after him. Dante tries to assure him it was just him and no one else who's coming. And then what the camera shows is that someone is ready to shoot someone at that restaurant. We assume it would be Valentine who they're trying to get. And last thing that happened involves Sonny again. Sonny actually is at the gym because he does own or partner or does something with the gym. But anyway, he's at his gym in the boxing ring, and he does have more heart pain, and he doesn't pass out, but he does lay on the ground at the end. All right, Brandon, did I leave anything out?
I think for the most part that was it.
All right. Like I said, Monday was just jam packed with a lot of information there. All right. But Brandon and I have something special that we'd like to do today. And we would like to talk about our best and worst of 2024 But we want to aim this toward the time basically when we started the channel, and which is roughly about June of 2024. So our aim will be looking at from June 2024 to through December to look at some of the worst and best of the year. Brandon, are you ready?
I'm as ready as you are.
All righty. And I have quite a few categories here. First of all, Performer of the Year. And for me, I had to think about this a little bit, but then I kind of had to think like who just kept coming up and up for me as the best performers. And so for me, it was Alexis and then Jason. I named them as both the performers of the year for me. Uh, all right, Brandon, who did you think?
Okay, so for me, I had to think about this too, and so I actually have sort of four different answers, and the reason for that is because I feel like I have different reasons for
Okay.
them. I think two are overall, but for two others, I feel like their actors have just taken their characters to another level.
All right, who are they, Brandon?
So for my main two of the year, I have also chosen Alexis and Jason. I feel like both of them have constantly, yeah, been integral characters to this year, at least that we've spoken about. Yeah, for the two characters I believe that have went above and beyond, I would say one Tracy Quartermain,
Uh huh.
and for the other, I'm going to say Ava.
Oh, didn't think about Ava in that regards. No, that's a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about people who really I feel like embody the character, like I think Ava has just done such a great job of feeling both at times antagonistic, but in other times like that you're sympathetic for her. Like, oh wow, that happened to Ava, or like Ava did that. Like I feel like in that regard, like we can't forget about Ava. I mean, she has done so many different roles throughout 2024 that I feel like she needs to be at as a member of that list.
All right. All right. And now let's talk a little bit about the best storylines of the year. And so for me, there's one storyline that kind of stayed out above all, and only because of the ramifications of the storyline I didn't agree with initially. I don't know if I still agree with it, but the ramifications that have gone through because of this one storyline has been felt throughout the rest of the year. And that's really Christina's fall. When she fell from the third story, um, to me, just the reaction, that how everyone reacted to it, and even going as far as even when Sam died, that all kind of stemmed from her behaviors, kind of stemmed from that one particular episode. So Christina's fall for me has been the best storyline that's been as fully developed, I think, as they could at this point. All right, Brandon, what do you have for best storyline or storylines?
Okay, so for this one, I said my first one, of course, was the fall of Christina, for the reasons that you just mentioned, and I mentioned two others as well.
Okay, what are your other two?
So the second one is Sasha, Holly, and Robert, the lovely newly discovered Scorpio family that we didn't know that we had, and so I thought that was so interesting in the way that they developed it, and it felt like they had like a plan with this. That even though we didn't know all the pieces, I feel like it all sort of added together, and I felt had a perfect sort of send off for Robert and Holly for the moment.
Okay, and what's your other one?
The other one I'm actually going to say is the loss of Sam. I mean, I feel like Port Charles has definitely been greatly affected by this, and I feel like it has set up to where we are now. And so, as you mentioned before, of course, that itself was set up by the fall of Christina, and so yeah, I feel like they're all sort of intertwined in that regard.
Yes, and I will have to agree with you about the Sam storyline too. All right. And now let's talk about storylines that just truly surprised us. The first storyline for me goes back to Christina's because you called me when that happened when I was at work. So yeah, Christina's fall for me is one of the storylines that surprised me. And then I'm also agreeing with you in regards to Sasha because that was one that made both of us go, oh, or at least because I have a long history of General Hospital, really go, oh. So, yes, so Sasha being the child of Holly, then of course being related to Cody on top of that, that in itself was just a storyline that truly took me by surprise. All right, Brandon, what were your surprising storylines?
It was both of those. And yeah, I mean, before I started watching General Hospital, I knew Sasha and Cody as the horse people just because, yeah, again, I was just intermittently watching and I'm like, what are these people doing, with this horse and everything. But I feel like for Holly and for Sasha, I feel like that really made me like Sasha's character. And not that I didn't like her before, but I just didn't care for her. But now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I think that storyline actually gave Sasha a purpose, because, like you, she was the character I kept saying the worst of the week, and then all of a sudden she was the best of the week because she showed that she could do a little bit of acting, and that and the storyline just kind of, I thought it highlighted important people and made her fit into the General Hospital realm. All right. All right, so now let's go. Let's talk about the young people in General Hospital. And in particular, I'm thinking of people who are 20 and younger, or at least our assumptions that they're 20 and younger. And so let's talk about who we think the best young actor is of this year, at least the half of the year. And for me, I had three. I had James, who I absolutely adore. I had Violet, and then Danny. Who did you pick?
Yeah, and for me, I chose Danny as my young actor of the year. And to me, I feel like his storyline, especially in regards to around the time of the death of Sam to now, that yeah, I like both his character and the acting from the actor. So I'm definitely really enjoy it, and of course, yeah, I really do, of course, like James and Violet as well. But to me, the award goes to Danny.
All right. And then now I have an interesting character, an interesting category, Brandon. This has to do with the lost storyline. For me, this means a storyline that has not been explored, that had potential, at least in my eyes, had potential, and the powers that be did not pick up on it or chose not to explore this. And for me, over and beyond would be Dex and Molly. I thought when they met at the bar, they kind of had a chemistry there, and I would have liked to have seen them explore that. I think the ramifications would have been just truly interesting to watch. And so, this to me is a lost storyline that just was not explored. All right, Brandon, who do you think?
So definitely that I really enjoy that, and I wish that they could have been together on screen. But in terms of me, for what was lost is Thanksgiving and apparently Christmas.
That is so true. I miss the Thanksgiving. I miss the song. I mean, everyone enjoys their Thanksgiving holiday. All right. All right. So for me, let's talk about worst couple. For me, the worst couple was Drew and Willow. It's just yuck. All right. I can't say any more than that. All right, Brandon, did you have a worst couple?
Drew and Willow.
All righty. And then let's go for best couple. I was stumped because I actually did not list anyone. I don't know if there was a best couple for this at least for this 6 months. Um, who did you pick for best couple, Brad?
Okay, so for various different reasons, I actually put three different ones.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, who did you pick?
Okay, so to me, for the best couple, like romantically wise, I chose Christina and Blaze.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. And who else did you pick?
So first of all, to give a little bit of reasoning for that one is because I feel like romantically wise, I think they're the only like healthy couple that we've actually had through this that were actually extensively shown. And of course,
Okay.
there are plenty of healthy couples here, or at least a handful of them. But I feel like Christina and Blaze, I think, were really giving each other the best qualities, and I feel like the storyline even of Christina and Blaze, for the little bit we saw of her after the breakup, both drastically changed after their breakup. So to me, that is a very easy one for my romantic couple.
Okay.
And then for me, I have the best couple of parents.
Okay.
And so for me, in that one, I have Alexis and Sunny.
Oh, that's a good interpretation of this question.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
so for that one, to me, I guess they were the best legacy couple of this, even though that they were not romantically together, but they were both there for Christina throughout these 6 months. And we saw more of Alexis and Sunny together than we did of Sunny and Carly.
Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. And did you said you had one more?
Yeah, so to me, this is my best sort of friend couple, or should I say, the best of the exes. And to me, that would be Lucky and Elizabeth.
Okay. Yes, they are always a couple. All right. Now let's talk about the worst storylines so far. And for me, the worst storyline had to be Pikemen. Whatever they were doing, I don't know. Anyway, it was one of the worst. And then after that, the Jagger storyline and the Sunny shot Jagger, and I'm not seeing the point. But anyway, that to me was one of the worst storylines. Also, Brandon, what are your thoughts for worst storyline?
So for me, my I have two. My first big one is Drew and Willow.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I feel like the way that sort of came, and especially with Drew using Sam's death and everybody's death, everyone's using everybody's death as a reason to get together. Like that's just weird and gross.
Uh-huh.
And the second one is also the killing of Jagger, just because I feel like there was a lot of potential with that. I kind of like Jagger as yeah as this sort of recurring villain person for Sunny, and that it's like Sunny can't touch him. And so I kind of liked that dynamic, and then the way they just ended it, I feel like we somewhat actually gave justification for Jagger at that point, because Jagger's whole thing was that Sunny is a ruthless villain, and Sunny spent this whole arc saying, "Yeah, that's not who I am," and then proved him right. So
Yes, yes, it is one of the worst storylines. I agree. And then let's talk a little bit about some of the heartwarming, not so much the heartwarming scenes, but the actors who create these heartwarming scenes. And so for me, the best duo in the heartwarming scenes so far this year has been Jason and Danny. I really like the way they bond together. And I think Jason, who the tough person, but at the same time is very sensitive. I think they do a really nice job of bringing Jason and Danny together. All right, Brandon, what about you for heartwarming scenes?
okay, I didn't even think about them, but I definitely would add them to my list. I think that both of them are I think they did such a great job with their heartwarming scenes of this year. And the one I had originally wrote down, which is still definitely on my list, is sort of Alexis and everybody.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. You can see I'm writing notes too, so I have what you've written down. All righty. Let's talk about best comedic relief. Oh, first, were you finished with the heartwarming scenes one?
Yes, I was.
All righty. Let's talk about best comedic relief. And for me, there are two people who stand out. The first one's Maxie. She just lights up every scene. And so when people are speaking to her, she's able to speak her mind, and no one seems to care that she's speaking her mind. And so I like that about Maxie, and I thought, and she just brings just a breath of fresh air. And then we have Tracy, who to me is, I know she's trying to be serious at times, but she's comedy in itself. So I think both Maxie and Tracy to me are two of the people who bring some comedic relief to the scenes. All right, Brandon, who did you see? Who did you choose?
Okay, I didn't even think about them, but I love your answers for them. I would 100% agree. But those weren't the ones I was thinking about when I wrote down my answers.
All right, who did you pick?
Okay, so for me, I said Anna and Brennan, and also the relationship with Carly.
Uh huh.
I like the whole thing where everyone keeps visiting Brennan in prison, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and now Anna is going through her whole thing of, weren't you supposed to be in prison? Why is there no records of you? And so I definitely was very intrigued by all of that, and now the relationship with Carly and Brennan, and Jason's disapproval, and that Carly keeps doing the same thing over and over again. I love it. Definitely comedic relief there.
That sounds great, Brad. I didn't think about the three of them together.
And
And all right, and let's talk about now underutilized talent. And so there are some characters in General Hospital who I think actually have a lot of potential, and but their talent to me is not really used as well as it should. And sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. But there are a couple of people who I thought about. The first one is Carly. Um, I love Carly as a character. And for this year, even though she was involved in many, many storylines, she was not necessarily this, I don't want to say star, but she was not necessarily the focus of a lot of these storylines. She just happens to be there. But she has so much potential as an actress. So I would like to see them actually utilize her again in a storyline that's kind of going. That's actually more important. I do like the way she acts with Brennan. I like the way she acts with Jason. I like the way she acts with Sonny, and especially with Jocelyn. And so I would really like to see her in a storyline. And the other person you're going to be shocked by this is actually Felicia. I think Felicia's there. She's just a side character right now. And so I'd love to see her kind of front and center on a storyline that's actually, you know, that has more basis per se. She's just there to kind of give a lot of support. And then while we were speaking, well, I'm speaking anyway, I just thought of someone else who I'd like. And actually, you're going to be surprised by this one too, and that's Curtis. I think Curtis right now is beginning to get a storyline in regards to working or not working with Michael and not working with Drew. But I think Curtis as a character has a lot of potential that they could utilize. And so I'd like to see them utilize those three a little bit more. Maybe those three could team up together. That'd be kind of a fierce force. All right, Brandon, which character did you think was not utilized as much?
Okay, that as a force, I think that would be so fun if they were all in a same storyline, and yeah, and I definitely feel like those people were so underutilized. And for this one, I'm going to sort of go for someone that's not here, and that would say Dex.
Yes, that is true. That was talent that I don't think know if we knew existed. And I've watched him on a couple of interviews that he's done since he's left the show, and his personality bubbles. And so I would have liked to, and he did have some humor on the show, but that's not the storyline they necessarily gave him. I would have loved to have seen them give him some humor on the show, or more humor on the show also.
Yeah, I definitely wish that they had utilized, yeah, like I said, his actor more, and especially having seen all of these interviews. I mean, I'm definitely excited to see whatever future project he works on.
Yes. All right. And now let's talk about the best recast. I think there's only been like a couple, if that many. And so for right now, that would be Lulu for me. I think they did a great job of recasting her. I mean, she came in as a Spitfire and she's doing what she needs to do. And so I like her as a recast. I know you didn't watch it when the other actress played on there, but she had a different take on Lulu. And so the recast is, I think, going more in the original direction, and I like what they've done. All right, Brand. Who's your thought of the best recast?
Okay, so I have, to me, my main answer, and then I have an interesting note to go along with it.
All righty. And what is your main answer?
So my main answer, of course, is Lulu. I mean, again, like you just mentioned, I have never seen the previous Lulus. I did not know Lulu existed, but nevertheless, I really, like Lulu, and I like, sort of the ambition that she has, and I'm not 100% sure where they're going with her current storyline, but I like the sort of the determination that she truly, as I said on the show numerous times, she is a real Spencer.
Yes, yes. And what is your twist?
Okay, so my interesting note is that I also wanted to put in, my favorite stand-in person.
Oh, I think I know who it is. Go ahead.
So to me, my favorite stand-in person was the temporary Sam that they had I believe, 3 times this year.
Yeah, she did do a nice job. She did a really nice job. She she basically was Sam when she was there, and so she never missed a beat. So I'll have to give credit for that. All right, all right. Now let's talk about characters who go missing on a regular basis. I don't know what this is about, but in regards to these are characters who they take, in real life. I'm assuming they're taking some time off, but the characters themselves go missing, and then they come back without much explanation. And that, to me, that's Laura and Kevin. Both go missing, and they come back with no explanation, or it's very a thin piece of explanation. All right, Brandon, who do you think are characters who go missing without much explanation?
Okay, so I had originally written down two in the note, but what you just said made me think of somebody else.
All
And
right.
so the two I originally written down were Kevin and Scotty.
Uh huh. For Scotty. Uh huh.
Yeah, wherever Scotty may be. My interesting note, even though this is not a main person or even a recurring person, but to me, I still want to know where in the world did the pharmacist disappear to?
Someone should tell you exactly where that pharmacist went.
Yeah, and the one that came to me when you were speaking earlier is Martin.
Oh yeah, Martin. That is a good one. Martin did go missing, and then he just popped right back.
Yeah, without his mustache and beard.
Yes, yes, and accent. All right, and then the next one that I like to talk about is the best return. And I have two return of a character, and there were two for me, and these are both the originals. The first one is Jason. I know that he came back much earlier this year, but you were aware of who Jason was. The second one for me is actually Rick. I have thoroughly enjoyed Rick coming back at his return. I told you when he came originally that I didn't like Rick, and I remember him from umpteen years ago. But I think they've done a good job with the pairing, or at least someone has thought him through. What they haven't answered the question of is why is he able to come back in town and leave wherever he came from without anyone caring that he's gone? But didn't he? Because surely he had other court cases wherever he was at, but he's able to come to Port Charles and take over. And so I like the way Rick has been brought back. I like him paired sort of with Ava. I like the way way he is with Molly. I like the dynamics he has with Alexis, and so even with Liz. So I think they're doing a good job. They did a good job of bringing Rick back. All right, Brandon, who are your best? Who's your best or best returns?
Okay, so I have some interesting thoughts when it comes to this. And first of all, I love your answers, especially with Rick. I didn't even think about him, but I really loved his most recent scenes, especially and his dynamic with Alexis. Definitely really enjoyable. But in terms of my answers, so the first one in terms of I wanted to do the return sequence was
Okay.
the original return of of Lucky in the sense that I sort of like the big adventure that they had with it, and that even though I feel like there was a lot of downtime with Lucky after he returned, I like that he is back in the fold now. At least that's what we're led to believe as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I also like when Holly returned as a part of that same storyline because I liked what she did with Sasha, and Holly just sort of had a certain spunk to her
Mm-hmm.
that was able to intrigue and annoy everybody. Um, so I really liked that. But I'm also going to say I like that Mac were able to return because hadn't they been gone for a little bit?
Not really. Mac had been gone. Felicia had been there. She just didn't have a storyline.
But yeah, I'm glad Mac was able to come back because I believe he made his grand return, if I remember correctly, around the time that we started speaking in early July.
Yes. All right.
And yeah,
All right.
and
Okay.
and I'll say as a side note, using a little bit of recency bias, is I liked the surprise return of Valentine this week.
Yes, actually, that was one, and I didn't realize I missed Valentine until I saw him come back. That was one that took us by surprise when we saw him in the theme song. Initially, it was like, "Oh, he's back." Alrighty. So let's talk about rising stars. And so the interpretation of rising stars could be a young person who we believe is going to be a rising star, or just someone who's new to the show itself, or it could be an established person who is actually showing some potential of being a rising star for. And we'll say for General Hospital. We're not necessarily talking about off screen, maybe just for General Hospital. And for me, believe it or not, Emma is one that I thought about. I know she's brand new, but in 2 days or 3 days, however long she's been in, she's had more little things going on with her. And I like the dynamic between Emma and Anna. I think they did a great job of establishing that, and it'll be interesting to watch Anna with Emma because Anna was presumed dead at the time when Robin was growing up. And so for Anna now to have to raise a teenager during that time period should be interesting to watch. So I think that so I like Emma coming on. And as for other rising stars in General Hospital, I think Lulu could take her character in different directions, and so it'll be interesting to see what they do with Lulu. All right, Brandon, who do you think for rising stars on General Hospital?
Okay, so I'm going to do a sort of interesting, twist to this in my personal thought,
Uh,
um, but first of all, I love that. Like I said, what you've been able to say, I definitely think that both of them, both recasts, can, bring up their dynamic. I feel like both of them can sort of build the characters as their own, a little bit, and sort of, become mainstays within General Hospital. And to me, for my rising star, I'm going to say the person I'm most interested in seeing grow, and the person that I'm most intrigued with. And to me, that would be Curtis.
oh, that's a good one. And I just thought of one while you were speaking. For me, it's Isaiah also.
Yes.
Isaiah, he's got chemistry with TJ's mom, and so I kind of want to see how he could take his character. And if they give him a storyline beyond the just I'm the surgeon and I'm interested in Jordan, if they actually give him a real storyline to work with, maybe he could help solve the caper of the people who keep dying on General Hospital. I mean, maybe he kind of could help with that. I don't know, but I'd like to see them give him a good storyline to go along with it. All right. And then we have storylines to be explored, meaning that what are some storylines that we might be looking forward to in 2025? There are a couple that come to mind. First of all, let's talk about Sunny. Sunny's having some heart issues right now, and so it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. Is this some? I don't know where they plan to take this. Are they just taking this back to General Hospital, meaning us to have a are we just taking this as a storyline to talk about the hospital? Or are we taking this a little deeper than that? I don't know. He's got all these children. What are the ramifications of him doing this? So, or is someone going to dig into his life while he's incapacitated? I don't know. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Sonny and what his heart issues will do for him in the long run. Um, and I have forgotten the other storyline, Brandy. I'm gonna let you do yours while I think of the other storyline that I wanted to explore.
Yeah, so in terms of other storylines that I want to see explored, I'm kind of curious as to this whole Digitalis thing, in regards to some of the characters, such as with Dex and Sam and the unknown person and potentially other people? Question mark. I'm curious as to what direction that they're going to push us, and I hope that it's a very thoroughly thought out plan. But I'd like to see a twist in it. Like, we obviously saw Cyrus Renault, up there with Sam, but I want to believe that there's a little bit more to this, because when Dex went down, Cyrus was, I feel like, the obvious answer, but I feel like if we knew he was there, I feel like they would have just showed it to us. So I want to see there being a twist in there. Um, so yeah, so that's sort of what I want to see. But I kind of want to see some of the younger actors take on more prominent roles, and and sort of help build like the next generation of General Hospital in a sense. Having dug through the history and having watched these 6 months, and now in our 27th discussion, that yeah I like being able to see that we're able to have people who were the young actors, decades ago, now being some of the more veteran actors, and so I'd like to see them set up, hopefully, the next 61 years.
Yeah. Well, and it hit me who I was thinking about, and I don't know how I could forget them. I would like to see this fallout of Willow and Drew and to see where is it landing. With once more with Michael leaving the show, where is this going to take the storyline? And then also, Jocelyn also. because I'd like to see where hopefully they will give her a storyline that's not necessarily as take it as deep as they did with Sam. But with Dex dying, she's now probably going to look for a little bit more things to do. And I think that they could use her with Trina, and maybe they could put them on a real storyline rather than having Trina go with the Kai person who's just kind of, I don't know, get. But anyway, um, so, and not to say that Kai's a bad actor, I just think that he was pushed into the storyline that's not necessarily there. So I think that, exploring Jocelyn and maybe even with Trina together to kind of give them a storyline to do something. All right. And then I had one question that we have gone back and forth on how we want to say this. And so the question is involves the characters who have left the story or are going to leave and who we are going to miss in 2025. And I kind of cited this in two different ways. And there are in one way I said characters who I will miss in 2025 than characters who I was sorry to see leave. And so I'm going to kind of do them both in the same. Characters who I will miss and who I still feel them who I think I will miss, first of all, will be Michael. Michael, for me, stands out as someone who I will miss as a character. He's been in the show, I think they said, close to 15 years. And so when he leaves, I think there will be a void because he does interact well with, with Carly and then with Sonny and then with Jason. He blends in really well. And then the other person is actually Blaze. I think that she actually, when she was with Christina, they brought her in nicely, and that she is a character who they could have kept in. I understand now and seeing how the storyline went and why they took her out, but she could have another storyline in there for her. The character who I was sorry to see go would have to be Sam. She was on there 20 years, so I was sorry to see her character leave the show. All right, Bran, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, and so yeah, and heading to the first part, which is people that that we will definitely miss. Of course, we definitely have Blaze. I really, really, really liked Blaze's uh, character and an actress, and I do really wish that maybe in a few months that she is able to return to some capacity. I whether it's with Christina or otherwise, because I feel like there's so much potential for her character to grow, and so I'd love to see her return if that's ever a possibility. And someone else that I missed, even though this was about a week or two before we started doing these discussions, is I really like Gregory.
Oh yeah, Gregory was a great character. Yes. All right.
But
Oh, go ahead.
and of course, alongside with that, we did see Finn leave, but I was really disappointed to see Violet leave.
Yes, yes. And I wish they would actually let Finn come and get Violet. It would have been great to actually have seen him come back one more time and to kind of bond with everyone as he left off with Violet. But Brandon, those are all the categories that I have. Did you have any on your side?
For the most part, I think that is about it. Oh, and I did want to say, of course, that
Uh-huh.
I am sad to see Sam go. I will say though that I really liked the send off that they gave for her. Not per se the Digitalis part, but in general that they let her in for the most part on a positive note. Like you got to see her interact with everybody, have a whole bunch of heartwarming moments, and so I'm glad that they were able to, yeah, for all intents and purposes, give her grace in her leave and not make it a hasty exit.
Yes, yes. Same here. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching us today. We know we went a little longer today, but we wanted to make sure to give a year in review, or at least in our eyes. And so we appreciate you watching. Next week, when we return, we will, like we said, include those 2 days that we missed. And so we'll do a 7-day synopsis. And let us know what your best and worst were for General Hospital for this year. We'd love to hear it. Guys, everybody, have a great day.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye bye, everybody.